Fear not, citizens. Hope has arrived because we are back talking My Hero Academia. No, not One Piece. I don't know what Brandon's doing over here. It's not One Piece. No, maybe one day. One day it'll be One Piece. My Hero Academia. This is the Amateur Otaku podcast. We are breaking down chapters 380 through 382. We are getting close to chapter 400. That's got to be a special one, right? I feel like it has to be a special one. Guys, so if you're watching this as this premiered, last video we broke down the 3 previous chapters, breaking down the last 3. We took a little bit of a break and we're getting caught up on the manga. And buddy, this mini arc here is insane. We're picking up where we left off with chapter 380, a skosh. Spoilers for My Hero Academia, the manga. If you're not caught up on the book, don't worry. We've got anime coverage here on the channel. Go enjoy that. It's depressing, but Deku's got friends now. That's great. Yeah, the season's almost over. Askash. This one is something else. And Isaac, I want to start with you. We last left off with Gentle trying to catch UA from falling out of the sky, which is a sentence I never even thought I'd say by how ridiculous that is. He's got to go plus ultra to keep UA from just being a meteor and killing everybody inside of it. And I personally love this moment because Gentle's always done it for the praise, for the applause, right? And he has this internal monologue of, there's no cameras, nobody's here. Deku doesn't even know I'm doing this, but I need to do it anyway. What were your thoughts on the reintroduction of Gentle and this new development for his character, Isaac?
I mean, it's a gentle way to put it that it's put a smile on my face. What?
But okay.
Yes, it did put a smile on my face because, I should not put it, it's... He first... I will admit that to some extent in the arc, they introduced me in, he sort of feel like, and I do stand by that arc in particular feels sort of like a filler arc to some extent. And I know that I'm not the only one that feels that, feel that, but this chapter in particular and the use of La Brava in the earlier chapter, I feel like this makes that arc a lot better, especially when he actually react towards the kids who is filming him. What's that class called?
The business school, the business class,
the business school where they film him because he.
Which, by the way, that was a big surprise.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Everything comes back.
He doesn't think his priority is to save the students and the ones inside, and he literally tells them to go inside, and he doesn't care about being shown, so to speak. And his focus is on trying to save UA instead, and that's a big moment, I dare argue. Yes, that alone.
Yeah, I'm still trying to recover from you calling the festival arc filler, but that's okay. Brandon, what about you?
See, that's the one thing that I will never agree with anybody. There is such thing as filler, but most good anime doesn't have filler. It's just expansion. Because without the festival arc, we didn't have a festival in the school, and school have festivals.
See, you said that. So what you're saying is that Horikoshi bought an expansion pack from Nintendo.
My Hero Academia did a school thing that's on brand for them. But anyway, Brandon, Gentle Criminal.
I was just trying to be bad,
two different characters that were interesting to a degree. But more importantly, we gave Deku an excuse to use his new support item, which I think was great. And an arc that without Gentle Criminal wouldn't have any action.
Gentle's the only villain Deku's ever fought one-on-one prior to the war. I just want that in perspective, too. That's a big character moment for Izuku.
I mean, does Muscular count? Because he did fight him one-on-one.
He kind of did, but, you know, he also got absolutely destroyed, I guess.
He actually
won.
Got it.
He came out okay.
Yes. Fair.
But I love what you were saying, Isaac, about the fact that these students are here recording this, right, for his character. I thought that was really cool progression. And Brandon, again, just tossing it back at you. I really love the idea of UA Deku 1 first, smart, take Shigaraki away, which is something that we complain about in superhero media all the time. Why don't you just pick the guy up and fly away from the city? He does that. Hey, you said it, not me. But I really love that entire concept. We didn't touch on that too much last episode. And so now it's on to the support classes, essentially. We have Hatsume and Power Loader. We've got the business students. We've got Gentle and La Brava to make sure that this doesn't end very, very badly, which I think is a really cool way to start off this chapter. I don't know.
and what I love about the business schooling is like they understand that part of their job is to, what's the word I'm looking for? Is to record history.
Yes.
You know, and that's a big thing because it's not just about the people that fought in these fights and these battles. It's about people that were on the sidelines watching these heroes act. Like one of the most interesting comic books ever written or graphic novels ever written that I actually haven't read, but I've always found it interesting. And at some point I might read is Marvels, which I think it's illustrated by Alex Ross, which is about this photographer this reporter going through the Marvel universe and talking about these heroes.
It's a great book.
That's pretty much what the business course is doing. It's recording the feats of these people, and one of them being Gentle Criminal, right? And Mike, it was something very simple, but you probably missed it. On chapter 378, when Gentle shows up, Deku realizes that it's Gentle. Because remember, Deku has a built-in quirk encyclopedia.
Yes.
So whenever something happens, he goes like, what is this? Elastic quirk? Gentle.
Yeah, I love that, but I love that we know that Deku is recognizing he also recognized Nagat's bullet. And so I love that the encyclopedia in Deku's brain is still at 100% at work, but they're all doing it with the assumption that Deku doesn't even know if they're there. It's like, it doesn't matter if he knows that we're here. I think that's the part that's really
right. Like the heroes don't know that Deku knows. The important thing is that Deku knows, and that's enough for Deku to keep on. Like he's seeing the support. I see what you're saying. Yep. But also, these are the kind of little moments where I go like, Horikoshi has tricked us from the first episode. Deku is not quirkless. Deku's quirk is his encyclopedic knowledge of quirks.
Right? Like, at this point, I love how that still comes into play. I wish we used it a little bit more. Because let's be real, Deku would have ended this war already if we just leaned full tilt on Deku analyzing all of Shigaraki's quirks. But it's always fun when it pops up again.
Yeah. True. Now, flash forward, since Deku and Shigaraki are out of UA.
Yes.
UA is now kind of like crumbling apart, even though Gentle's doing the best to keep it up in the air. Twice as doubles are running rampant around everything. Aizawa and Present Mike are knocked off
Yeah.
the UA, but they're warped somewhere. We just don't know where. And I love the idea that Kurogiri knows that his job is to protect Shigaraki, but Shirakumo is probably in there saving his friends too.
I love that panel, right? We're on page 7. That's the one I'm looking at. We see them fall out, and we see Kurogiri say, "I am protector." And then he warps them. It's like, and I love that Mandalay even points out, is he warping them to protect Shigaraki, or is he protecting them? And I love that we don't have the answer there. It could be a mixture of both. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Aizawa in a few chapters with Midoriya, and he shuts the quirks off again because Kurogiri warped him.
Can
to
he
Deku.
do it with one eye though? Isn't that the point of Phantom Thief? That he can't use his quirk 100% because he's missing an eye?
It's not 100%, but if he, can even slow down Shigaraki for a second, it's still useful. He can still use the quirk. The power is not completely gone. It's just more effective with Monoma there.
Or maybe there is a warp dimension in certain Naruto reference.
God.
Just like Obito. And that's where
is he even fit to fight? He can't, he has one leg, one eye. I don't know.
Someone needed to do it first.
That was actually well done. That was the best reference we've had in I don't know how many episodes. Well done.
I saw it and I just took a swing at it, and it was.
We need him to take the eye patch off and just go shing. Yeah. I love again how Horikoshi forgets how Mandalay's quirk works. It's one way, but he now makes it 2-way. She can't.
Please elaborate.
So when he first introduces the Pussycats, Mandalay's quirk is you can communicate with her, but she she's basically now comms between the entire battlefield, and it's like she can hear you, but she can't you guys can't communicate with each other, which I think it's just funny. It's a one-way receiver.
Maybe she got that one support tool.
Maybe. I mean, honestly, hopefully the anime do something like here you have a support tool that upgrade your quirk, or maybe they have an updated version of what is the drug called that doesn't make you go. Yeah, the trigger that doesn't make you go berserk. Although, if that was the case, why didn't they give everyone that power boost? So, I digress.
Speaking of power boosts, when are we going to see Eri just rewind Shigaraki back into a baby? Call it a day. We know she can control it. She brought Lemillion back. That's just a thing that I've been wondering for a while now.
I wonder if she rewinds someone out of existence, is that person destined to be born to someone else?
Oh, I mean, that's a good question. We'll never know because she did rewind her parents out of existence, which is how she ended up with the boss in Overhaul in the first place.
That's just dark.
I mean, it's probably less painful than what Shigaraki did to his parents. So,
and his entire family, and his dog, and his sister, and his house.
Now the world. So Kurogiri teleports them, and I love how we get this big shot of them all just screaming for Midoriya, right? He's officially become that guy that they're all backing and supporting. One thing that I love about this chapter is we have Hawks fighting All for One.
So this is now, before you go on that, guys, this is where we leave Shigaraki and Deku again for a minute. But so many cool things happen. Go.
So many cool things happen, and I love I don't know if you guys have noticed, but on page 10 where they're yelling for Midoriya, if you look down, it says recording. Yes. So we're seeing the broadcast footage that La Brava is. She hacked the kids' phones, and she's now broadcasting this to the world, and they all see Gentle and La Brava and these kids fighting to save hero society and society at large, which again, I love how these students are aware of. Dabi broke hero society. It wasn't necessarily just the heroes failing. It was also making them lose trust in these heroes and not feeling protected and safe. I love that this is kind of aiding that of they're still fighting. It goes back to Look Boy, right? Endeavor's still fighting. He didn't give up.
Yes, and it's the whole thing about they're understanding their role in whether you see it as a nefarious idea or not. It's their job to control the media.
Mm-hmm.
They allowed this media virus known as Dabi to run rampant with no control, with no, you know what I'm saying? And let society form their own opinions, well, there's nothing wrong with that. But if their role is to present the truth with facts, with more information, it could have dampened the blow. But they noticed how they failed in trying to do the right thing now. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
Shout out to the kids. It's always the kids. There's no teacher in this business course that's doing anything. We don't know who their teacher is.
Skeptic.
Right. So we've got all of the twice duplicates, doubles. I don't know. It's not two of them, so I don't know what to call twice
Toga
anymore.
twice.
The Togas. So we've got them. We've got we leave Deku and Shigaraki for hopefully not as long as we did last time, which was like a good 25 chapters. We cut to Hawks fighting All For One. And this is where things get crazy. All For One is trying to steal Fierce Wings. And it just like totes doesn't work, you know? And like we get the most beautiful panel of Hawks to ever be drawn. And that's because it's an illusion. Isaac, were you expecting Kami to show back up?
Yes, at one point.
A lot or a skosh?
I mean, how should I put it? Without sounding weird.
Okay.
It's already weird, bro. Just say
it. Once you said that, it got weird. So just spit it out.
Let me put it like this: I always expect obvious fan service characters to get some big moments.
Why is she a fan service character? Oh,
okay. Really, dude?
No, that's fine. I saw it. It's in her chest. So here's the thing. It's
the thing is, there's nothing fan servicey about any of her moments in these chapters. So
no, in any chapter that she's been in. Remember, the real her wasn't even in that licensing exam.
Yeah.
So this is the first time that we actually see her in action, which I think is a big
second because she did get her license with Todoroki and Bakugo.
True.
But yeah, this is her first time she's actually fought a villain, so
that we know of.
And it was a good way to make a fake. Oh shit, is Hawk gonna survive or not? Kind of deal.
Yeah,
I love Tokoyami's
It's honestly
face.
a better fake out than the Bakugo one. I dare argue because unlike the Bakugo one, this was sold immediately and not just
I don't think Bakugo was a fake out though. I think that's the difference. Bakugo legitimately was killed or was dying, and we saved him.
I say that that was a fake out, considering they are or at least trying to resurrect him. That's my entire point. I dare argue that's a fake out if they are resurrecting him.
He's not dead though. I think that's my thing. Is I don't think Bakugo technically ever died.
No, that's what I mean. They look like he's dead, but they are trying to get him back on the feet. That's what I mean with fake out. And unlike the Bakugo one, this isn't. We have to wait a month or maybe a year to know. Did Hawk survive? You get what I mean?
No, I got you. They resolved it within a panel. It wasn't something that I got you. At this point we know that Bakugo is going to come back to life because there's no way that he died. Really,
He
bro?
is really praying for this kid's downfall, I tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
Now, I do want to ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
We had an amazing cliffhanger on 379. We get another phenomenal cliffhanger here. And these are the brilliant moments of a final arc to me. When you have these characters come back, right?
The
When
heroes
you have
come
moments,
back.
yes. That's those are the things that get me all excited. What I don't understand is, what is Cammy flowing on?
That still might not be her. That could still be an illusion for all we know, honestly. Because her power is illusions. My question for you guys: did you need the translation for what she's saying? Because like they have the translation here, and it's like
110%.
I understood the entire thing, and I'm just like, oh wow, we had to translate that. That's hilarious.
I mean, I needed a translation. I'm old.
That's funny. But yeah, I love Shiketsu joining the fray, and just kind of building from that specific arc. And I like how we kind of teased it because we had Shindo and Miss Joke in the previous chapter, even if it's for a second.
Shiketsu High.
They're not from Shiketsu, but
they're from a different school, right?
They're from a different school, and they all appeared in the same license exam arc. So it's like Horikoshi kind of teased that idea, and we were just kind of like, okay, cool, nice to see that Shindo is alive after getting stomped by Muscular. It was like, oh, okay, Inasa and Kami and this meatball dude are back. Neat. Whose dad died? I don't think anybody really remembered that. His dad was killed, and he's now on this whole I want revenge for my father.
Wait, is his dad one of the wardens for the prisons?
His dad in the anime was the warden who was doing all that talking about why these villains should have been killed, blah, blah, blah. And we actually talked about that in our Core 1 review, Brandon. That's his father. Well, okay. I don't think Horikoshi ever mentioned that, but it's like they have the same hair. He talks about his dad dying. We have a small flashback. It's like, okay, nice, cool. That's a new detail, new wrinkle. I appreciate it.
The power of the wrinkle.
Right. So I love how All for One is just talking trash, and then Inasa shows up saying, listen up, pal. I'm the guy who decides which way the wind blows. Cliffhanger. And this is interesting for me because he's on par with Todoroki. Like, that's how powerful he is. He was going to be the top student in UA if he didn't switch schools. We're getting into chapter 381. Thanks for bringing it up, Dark. I want to know, Brandon, how excited were you when you saw that these characters were coming back? Simply because of how powerful they are, and them aiding Hawks and Endeavor is just even crazier.
I love how they're setting it up for this to be the extra push that this first team needed to try and get a handle on All for One. And I love the fact that they're reintroduced like key players, not just as backup.
Yes.
And I love the whole idea that they were asked to go back them up, but they were already on the way.
Yes.
The idea that it's the whole Deku against the slime monster. We have to assist. We have to do what heroes do. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Isaac, what are your thoughts on Inasa and Shishikura? I think is this other guy's name.
Well, for some reason, his hero name is Chi-Chi Cross, which I don't think works very well.
What about him are you thinking of specifically?
Of the three students, what were your thoughts of the three students coming back?
I mean, it's it's a good way to turn the tide in a most storm-inflicting way.
Turning of the tide.
Okay.
What? Did I say something wrong?
No. Nothing wrong at all.
You do You do. You do look like you're one step of a massive face palm. So
That's just my resting bitch face, but that's all right. So I love
okay.
I love how Pixie Bob is here again, one of the many teachers who had some influence on all of these students, one form or another. And we're slowly building to Tokoyami's moment in this chapter, and I love that it's just called Dark. That's just it. And I love just I'm looking at page 3 of this chapter. Just All for One's design. That is so dope, guys.
He looks, I don't know why, and this is probably gonna sound very reductive, but I'm getting so many Jujutsu Kaisen vibes. Like he's like this old sage from years ago that is
Yeah.
just gonna pow down all these kids.
I
And he
mean,
apparently knows how to do a spirit bomb.
well, you see, this is something that I've mentioned every time we've encountered All for One in this story. I hate his power, or at least how Horikoshi uses his power, because he has unlimited amount of quirks. And so it's really whatever we want the story to demand, that's the quirk he's going to pull out. Instead of Deku, we know he has a set amount and we know what they are.
No,
Of course, he pulls out a spirit bomb.
but here's the thing, though. What I do like, though, I do agree with you, Mike. What I do like about the whole shenanigans is that the way they're explaining it is that he's able to combine quirks. So this spirit bomb, just like Goku has to gather the energy of all the citizens of the earth, this is the result of quirk combinations. It's not just a one power thing.
Yeah. It's just, again, why didn't you use this against All Might? Those are the things of like, he pulls out a new ability, and if we don't see him collect it, like we saw him get Search, that makes sense. It's just like, okay, you're confusing, dude. You're just whatever the plot demands at that point. But I do like the explanation of it's the cumulative power kind of like rearing its head there, which is pretty neat.
Yep. So if we move on to Spirit Bomb, I love how we don't get a lot more time with it, but I do love how in page 5 we have that one panel of Dobby playing hide and seek with Daddy.
I forgot that Dobby has a new design, and I was so like, "What the heck? Who is this guy?" He's like, "Oh wait, no, that's Toya." Okay, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Yes.
But yeah, like, is this just the ramifications of the spirit bond, right? Like, he started to change the weather, which, if you remember, All Might change the weather when we see him first throw a punch. So that's a really neat kind of parallel between the two there. I love how we, from that point though, just get like 4 pages of just All for One monologuing the entire time. Like those are his speech bubbles the entire time. So that means he's just running his trap nonstop, talking smack like he do. I love and hate this guy so much.
And then what happens? And then Anasa comes in and says, I mean, I never heard of you, but they teaches that in contemporary history.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, bro. I'm more gonna take you down.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep using my wind power. I love the shots of Earphone Jack and Uravity, simply because it's reestablishing everybody who's been affected. We get Mushroom Girl, we've got Hawks, we've got Endeavor. Like, we're just kind of recapping how widespread this battle is and how many characters are involved in it.
We're getting a little glimpse.
Little glimpses, little windows. And I think you were talking earlier, Brandon, about you wanted to be a little bit more linear instead of us jumping all over the place. I feel like by giving us those little glimpses, that is kind of the best of both worlds of like, hey, we're going to remind you that Endeavor's still fighting Dobby, but we're going to make sure we stay on this path, at least for this chapter, with All for One and Hawks. Which also, the number 2 hero who can't fight is fighting the biggest bad the world has ever seen. Man, Hawks needs help. I'm glad Shiketsu showed up.
And I love how Shiketsu showing up, Hawks is able to understand the power of One for All. It's not just about the power that Deku has. It's about the inspiration that Deku, the hope that Deku gives to people. Because I love that one shot, and it all goes back to that title that Horikoshi keeps bringing back. This is how we all became heroes. This is how we all became the world's greatest heroes, and that's One for All, bringing everyone together for Midoriya. So I know those panels are like the moment where you go, where you know that you say run is like playing in the background. those are those moments.
Every action, every thread being woven together like impenetrable denim. That's probably something Best Genius would say. But still.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, if anybody asks, he holds the phone in a very cool way.
You gotta love him. He's always doing this. He's so extra. Gotta love Genius. So yeah, All for One.
So he's doing this all the time when he's holding his phone, and then for some reason, I don't know if he has a big neck. Oh no, yeah, you gotta go like that. Yeah, you gotta go. It's that's the way to do it.
Instead of just doing this, but all right.
Right. No, and I don't know if he has a big neck anymore. I think he just likes the design, because when you saw him in the press conference in the anime, like the part for his neck is like it's all this huge piece here. It's
that'll always be funny.
Yes. Now, of course, no matter what people say, All for One is still running his trap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to that moment where Tsukuyomi says, "That darkness you talk about, we've already devoured it whole." That's badass.
Isaac,
that's badass.
Thoughts on this badass design for Dark Shadow?
I mean, how should I put it? It is as if Batman had superpowers. That's kind of a dark.
Isn't that what Deku is?
Deku is Spider-Man.
Did you say Spawn?
This is more. Yeah, Spawn is probably more suiting of this analogy.
I love how Deku goes full Batman, because the messages say, "Look at all your quirks as tools."
Yeah, fair point.
Yep.
But yeah, it's kind it's a nice way to use his power. Honestly, it's a certain bright spot of this entire arc.
That's definitely not what this is at all. This is actually a dark spot on this arc.
I mean, it's a bright spot because it's epic.
Revelry in the dark. I love that panel where All for One is just like standing there. You just see the eyes of Dark Shadow behind him on this entirely black page. It is so page 10, I believe it is. So intense. And then the camera, hypothetical camera, zooms in on Tokoyami's face, and it is just the meanest like disgust in his eyes for All for One. And I love how we're kind of setting that up with, on the opposite side of the page, we have baby Tokoyami and baby Dark Shadow and how adorable they are. And this just kind of goes back to what Nagant was saying, right? About how she was wide-eyed and she was very much hopeful and optimistic, and the world kind of broke her. Tokoyami isn't Nagant, but it's still like Hero Society. This entire world has gotten really dark and has changed a lot of people. And now we've got Tokoyami saying we have devoured the darkness whole, which is like, I don't know if I want the hero saying that to me, because I feel like he's about to break all the bones in my body.
But then again, he's still trying to be a hero, because Hawks, because of the way Hawks has been, no matter what he's done, right? Tsukuyomi has been able to get the best things of Hawks, but because Tsukuyomi has been able to relate to Deku in Class 1A, he's also getting the best parts from them.
Yes.
So all these young students of Class 1A are the fusion of all the goodness that heroes are supposed to be. And because it's a war, that's why this line that Hawk says at the end of the big spread makes sense. Because of how dark and how broken Hero Society was, Hawks had to make decisions that are questionable, but he had to make them because Hero Society was broken, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Tsukuyomi now can do what he needs to do to free the world from the darkness by using the dark to free it. And he says, if I was able to pay it forward to you even a little bit, that's Hawks towards Tsukuyomi in his head, then dirtying these wings are worth it. Like all the bad decisions that I've made, he's talking about killing twice. Right? Everything bad that I've done was worth it because you were able to learn from my mistakes and be better.
It
Which
also
kind of like,
sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh no, go.
I was just saying it kind of also ties back to page 12 where he says we've already devoured it whole. A lot of the small detail that you may miss is at the top of that page. That's when they bring Deku back. They defeated the darkness is really what he's saying. Of like throughout all of this, we brought the boy home. We were able to still stand united. That is literally, at the time of this recording, last week's episode of My Hero Academia after Uraki's speech. And it's like, yeah, that's why he's fighting. That's why, like, he's not consumed by hatred when he says darkness. It's we were able to survive that darkness, which again speaks to why Class A is so special compared to the rest of the heroes that came before them. You have Mirko, you have All Might, but a lot of them were still a level of greed or selfishness that was there that they either had to overcome or just were flat out consumed by, like Death Arms retiring and like all these other characters that just called it quits. I think that is a big testament here, like you were saying, with Hawks inspiring Tokoyami and him being able to see past those flaws to still power up to abysmal black body light of Boulder.
I love how all of his attacks are Dungeons and Dragons reference, probably.
They're all just like Norse mythology, right?
Yeah, it could be too. Like somewhere Thor is flipping Mjolnir.
Yeah, well, his last attack was Ragnarok, and this one is Baldur. So I feel like he's just a God of War stan, maybe.
Has to be.
That, yeah, I love how he finally seems to have mastered Dark Shadow. That's been a running theme. And him being teamed up with Endeavor, again, just showing that his weakness is fire and flames and light, but teaming up with Hawks and Endeavor, they're able to support each other to maximize their ability to win. And even Inasa, remember when he fought with Shoto, they made this like fire vortex and were canceling each other out. But once they finally learned to work together, they defeated Gang Orca, a top 10 hero. And so I like how those characters are teaming up with the biggest fire user in the world because they all have realized, hey, if we actually work together, we don't have to be a negative with each other. We don't have to cancel each other out. We can actually be powerful enough to stop the world's biggest villain, which I think is neat.
The power of truth. So, final chapter?
Final chapter, unless Isaac, you had something you wanted to add before we move to Don't Let Him Go.
We can move to the last chapter.
All right. The merry-go-round continues to go round and round. We're here at chapter 382, Don't Let Him Go. And we are cutting again to another battle. But I think this is, it feels like it's all starting to come together, so it doesn't feel like as abrupt as
remember, this is
jumped.
now Yeah, this is now where All for One is.
Yeah, true.
So it's still the same battlefield, just a different area. So,
Right.
and that's what I love about this whole part, right? Because Horikoshi has found a way to bring to reduce the battlefields to two important areas. Because
Yep.
right now there's no villains apart from the twice doubles in UA. So unless they really matter, they can just be taken out, right? But
And the thing we learned in this chapter is that they don't, because Toga can't use twice his power. Really. The way that Twice could.
like she what do you mean? Like she has a limit?
So, yeah, well, in this chapter, we'll get into it. I'll break it down a little bit.
Oh, why can't
Toga
I
has
become
made
like,
these
so
infinite.
it's not permanent. It's not permanent. She can't permanently become Jin and use quirks.
Yeah, she can't use the ability. When Jin would copy the power, he would copy the person. They can use the quirk. They can use the fire. They can use the decay, and that's what I think.
So she can
Uraraka
become
points
Jin
out
and create doubles of Jin, but she can't create
Right.
doubles of other people.
as Jin, exactly.
Got it.
And they're saying, and the theory, and I think it's Uraraka and Sue. The theory is that she can only use the quirks of the people that she loves, which is why she was able to use Jin's quirk and Uraraka's quirk. Because she did use Uraraka's quirk in My Villain Academia. For those who don't know, Toga really loves Ochako. And I feel like that gets undersold a lot in this story. But I feel like Horikoshi's making a point of her power specifically is tied to who she loves. And these are the two so far that she's been able to copy. We'll see if she can copy One for All one day. We'll see. But we start this chapter off. She goes full Shadow Clone Jutsu. There you go, Isaac. Naruto reference. Boom. We get infinite doubles.
Proud.
Infinite doubles of Twice. And now we've got... I love how we zoom in on a double that she made of Shigaraki. There is a double of Shigaraki on page 2.
No, she made a double Shigaraki, a double of Dabi, and a double of All for One.
Right. So the double of Shigaraki is touching the ground and nothing's decaying. That's what that is really highlighting, is that nothing's decaying. So it's not working. So we get the big exposition dump of Uraraka explaining what I just said, so we can kind of brush past that. I really love the internal monologue and the struggle that Toga is having, right? Like she's trying her best and she can't figure out why she can't use Jin's quirk and destroy everything. And it's just in her head, all heroes must die, all heroes must die. The words of Dabi are echoing through her brain. What is your takeaway from that? Isaac, I want to start off with you, with Toga's internal struggle.
First off, I don't like the picture that, or should I say, the panel that used when they show her off to have her monologue. It's maybe a nitpick, but I'm not a fan of how they draw that for reasons that we thought is not exactly the same reasons, but you know my opinion about
so the internal struggle.
yeah, but the internal struggle in
not the one that you're having, the one that
Right.
Toga's having.
Yeah. Sorry, it was just a rant I had to go to mention to get off the chest. But we talked about earlier on how we believe that Toga could become a quote unquote helping the heroes, and I think she is going. This could be a sign of that she wants no. I don't want to kill the hero society, and either just stops or what's it called? Turn against the villains, because she realized that she has someone that she quote unquote loves to be alive, and she wants to protect her in comparison to, well, now that that she doesn't have the other one that she loves, sort of say. I don't know how I should explain that, but I think you get my point.
I hear you. I don't see her turning on the villains. I may see her surrender, but I don't
Yeah,
know if she's got it in her to go fight Shigaraki, Like, I think
I
she may
mean,
turn against All for One. I don't know if she'd fight Shigaraki. Is what I think.
to some extent, you can argue that turn herself in is going against them because then they instantly make it so that they have one less threat, kind of deal.
I mean, technically, I guess, but I mean, I don't see her like full on. I'm going to go fight my friends. Like, I don't see her fighting Spinner. That those that's what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
She may quit. Like, Uraraka may talk her down to stop the fight, but I don't see her betraying them. What about you,
No,
Brandon?
Yeah. I don't know. I think correct me if I'm wrong. When she used Ochako's quirk, did she use it at the same level as Ochako?
Yes. As far as we know, like, she touched people, they floated, then she released, and they all dropped dead. We've never seen Uraraka kill anybody, but as far as we know, that's to the extent that Ochako can go.
Because I don't know, maybe it's like I said, it's depending on the type of quirks that they have. It could be a specific type of quirk. It could be an emotional thing. But I think that the internal struggle was the most interesting is that she became full-blown villain because Jin died. So it's all about honoring Jin. Jin's desire was never to kill the heroes. Jin's desire was to be part of a team, to be part of a family, to be accepted. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where the disconnect is. Like, maybe she thought that this vision that Dabi's spouting out was Jin's vision, but it's not. And that's creating the disconnect. And also I wonder if there's like a limit of quirks that she can use at the same time. You know what I mean? Because when she becomes Jin, she has Jin's quirk, but then using other quirks brings other quirks into play. Maybe she doesn't have the capacity to do that.
Maybe.
What I do love is the spread of, so you have the spread, all heroes must die in pages 6 and 7, and you see the twice by himself.
Yeah.
And then when you go to the spread in page 8 and 9, it's the same space, and that same twice is in the same space, and that's the twice that Ashaka finds.
Yeah. That's why, to not stick on this too long, the panel that Isaac doesn't like, you have to remember that her quirk, how it works, she is like completely naked to double and
Yeah,
turn
I
into these
know.
people. So this
I
is,
And they've
know.
made it a point to show that throughout the entire series.
Yeah, at least it have some context in comparison.
Yeah, I'm not saying you've got to like it. I'm just saying that's why we are seeing Toga at her most vulnerable place. And then we
I
zoom
know.
out and we see, I know you know, I'm explaining for the listeners. it's okay. We zoom out, and I kind of want to move on to that, what you were saying, Brandon. So we zoom out, and I love this moment. Great Uraraka moment. She's always loved seeing people happy. So of course, she zeroed in on her tears. And we see twice bawling her eyes out because this is Himiko. I really like what we're doing with Uraraka's story. I wish we get a little bit more of it. It's not that I even think we need a lot more. It's just so many things are spread out. It feels like it's been an eternity since we've had Uraraka's main storyline kind of rear its head. I really appreciate. Do you think? I think Deku trying to save Shigaraki may fail, but Uraraka's attempt to save Toga, I definitely think, is gonna happen at this point.
I think that's something that's after that last encounter that they had. during the Jakku
Mhm.
incident, that's definitely happening.
Yeah, especially with last time we met Toga here on this battlefield, like 15 chapters ago, something like that. And she is like, I don't want to hear what you have to say anymore, Ochako. And Uraka kind of backed off, and then we're revisiting that. It's like Uraka's gonna break. She's gonna talk no jutsu her, definitely, for sure. As we move through here,
We need to have like a counter somewhere so that every time we do a Naruto reference, it goes bing.
Here's the problem. That would have been funny, but now Isaac has manufactured it to where we are purposely doing it. It's not organic anymore. So I don't know if
It's still organic because you organically say Taku no Jutsu. It's
we cut back and we see the tsunami that All for One created. Remember, he changed the weather with his spirit bomb. The tsunami that he created has everybody basically grappling at straws here. Inas is the only one who can really do anything because he too can affect where the wind blows. He said that. That was his big thing. And so in all of the chaos, we get teenage All for One. What were your thoughts when you saw that happen?
first, well, apart from the fact that his look is very sus, and Tsukuyomi's reactions were it's remarkable. He's even younger now.
It's like 12.
I wonder, does that mean he's more powerful? Because that wouldn't make sense. Because he's younger, so why would he be more powerful? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm lost. Isaac, you got anything? Take that as a no.
I mean,
there you are.
Sorry, I forgot that I was muted. But
okay.
Yeah, Mike can say.
Are we going to have? How should I put it? Are we going to have him going to be a fetus before he trying to? At this point, before he tries to ultimately fuse with Shigaraki again or something, because this is his.
Oh, I just had a very bad image in my head.
What?
He's gonna become a baby, and then Shigaraki has to eat a baby so he can grow in power.
That
I don't know.
That is some
fault,
next
Isaac.
level.
That's some.
You're welcome.
Some Greek mythology for you.
I was gonna say
Shigaraki
that's
going
some,
full Kronos.
Yeah, kind of. But it just where does the? I mean, just where does the get younger stop at this point? That's what I mean.
It's weird. I don't know what to make of it.
What I can make about it is he does another surge of power. I got a feeling that the more power he uses, the younger he gets. So maybe that's the timer, right? He's going to get to a point where he's going to be a child, and that's when his power is about to run out. The question is this: as he grows younger, his clothes shrinks with him. So, on that note,
the Incredible Hulk style.
Yes. What I do want to say is out of nowhere, Gigantomachia is back. Now,
he is.
Before we go into the circumstances of his return, the two narrators throughout the two narrators of this chapter are Hawks and All for One. Because to a degree, they're the commentators of what's going on in the battlefield, right? So when Gigantomachia shows up, what was your first thought?
Yeah, so when he shows up, I'm like, oh boy, that's definitely not good. This is gonna take a turn for the worse. How are they going to deal with All for One and Gigantomachia? And then we get the line where All for One says, "Flatten them, Machia." And it's like, that art looks kind of weird, especially since we know what he looks like now. He looks like he's 12. That's definitely not the All for One that we just saw.
And look at the bubble. It doesn't have the dark lining around it.
Right. That's something that anime can't do. So it'll be really interesting to see how the show adapts this in like 2 years.
Well, I think
Maybe they do it sort of like they pitched his voice in the audio recording or something.
But then it doesn't work,
It's
right?
funny.
Because it won't sound like All for One.
I mean, that's the only thing I can see working, if I'm being honest.
You just have to omit the detail, honestly. That's just
I
like
mean,
a cool thing only the book can do.
Yeah,
the view.
I get it's too early to suspect something on how they are handling it.
So
what are you saying about
Gigantomachia? So Gigantomachia
Yes.
goes forward with All for One's command and throws a mountain at his target because he can't just throw a boulder. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that Gigantomachia saw the Beast Titan and said he saw the Beast Titan do his thing, and Gigantomachia went, "Hold my beer."
Oh, does that make Hawks Levi?
Yes, it does. It actually does.
It does.
It does. Look how crippled Hawks is.
He's so crippled, but he's still got his two little swords. He can still square up if he needs to. I love how I forgot that Kirishima even existed.
Well, Kirishima,
and he shows.
Well, Kirishima was in the Dabi battlefield, right? Originally,
Was he? I think he was.
I don't.
Yeah, he was with Shoto.
I don't remember.
He was with Shoto, yeah, and that's the whole battlefield with Dabi. Lita was there. Burning was there. There was another fire user from Endeavor's sidekicks, and it was Kirishima. And
yeah. So I love how we have him come back, and it's one of those moments like, yes, Red Riot, let's go. And then we've got Shinso with the voice changer and the scarf, and it's just like, I love the detail when you go back and you see that panel of All for One telling Machia to flatten them. It does look similar to Shinso.
Like on the
like
eyes?
His hair, his eyes, and it's like, yeah, that's a funny little, again, not anything that the anime probably can really do. That's just strictly a manga thing that Horikoshi added, which I think is a really nice touch to go back and see that detail.
Yep.
Honestly, this is just a theory, but honestly, it makes most sense.
What's that?
Over under 50% that they brainwashed Gigantomachia through the means of copying All for One's voice in some fashion, because otherwise, why would they be able to have him through a freaking
Isaac, that's what happened.
Remember, but remember, Shinso's quirk is that if he gets someone to say what he says or responds to what he says, they become brainwashed, right? His mask is the voice changer.
Mm-hmm.
So he made it.
I
so
totally
it sounds
forgot
like
about that.
Yeah,
I totally
trust me.
About that.
A lot of people probably did, and here's the other thing that a lot of people probably forgot. It makes 100% sense that Shinso can do this because Gigantomachia was captured after the Jakku incident. So the only way Gigantomachia is up and running is if the authorities release him.
Also, All for One has been monologuing for like an hour, and LaBrava has been recording everything. So she could have like easily got the audio file that they needed to replicate his voice in like 2 seconds. to go get Gigantomachia.
Now,
Fair point.
this is a phenomenal cliffhanger. By the way, the cliffhangers lately have been fire. Every single one. It's coming back this Sunday. I'm excited. But I have one question, and one question only. And I'm pretty confident, Mike, you probably know the answer. I just don't remember. Where the hell is Mineta?
I have no idea.
Hopefully dead.
He wasn't
somewhere.
with Toga and Oshaku over there, was he?
He might be simply because he gets paired up with Sue a lot for some reason. I don't know why. So he might. I don't know. Mineta, Isaac's moaning, but like Mineta has been reformed for like years now at this point, so he doesn't bother me. Like he hasn't done anything in like 3 seasons of the anime and like 2 or 3 years worth of manga chapters.
Well, because they've been fighting all this time, so there's nothing for him to do. Give him downtime.
He literally gets brainwashed. He literally got brainwashed and reformed after the training arc. He pissed off Ashino so much that she brainwashed him. And he's been fine ever since. It's the best scene in the entire manga.
I don't know why, but I have a feeling that he's going to have like an Aquaman moment. You know how when Aquaman comes out with the Kraken, Mineta's going to come out like and do something crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of funny that's the one character you want to know. Where's Mineta? What's Mineta?
I mean, at this point, we kind of know where everyone is. I just don't know where Mineta is.
That was a ballsy question of you. That's for certain.
Wow.
What?
So,
I just had to do that one, and you know it.
So, yeah. This is Mineta, and he hasn't done anything pervy since this moment. She's literally reformed the guy. So I'm cool with Mineta at this point.
I forgot when did this happen? I forgot this happened.
This happened in season... When was the Class A versus Class B arc? Season 5?
So in other words, she went full Clockwork Orange on Mineta.
It's a whole character arc with Mineta. Like I'm telling you, like it's canon that he has been reformed because this happened in the arc, and then she brainwashes him, and he never does anything pervy again. Then this happens. It is. I
love how quick.
If you only died after that one instead.
I love how quickly you were able to find the images to explain Mineta's reform.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 15-year-old boy. You know, I don't think he should die, Isaac, for liking boobs. But that's okay.
That sounds like Oda defending everyone asking about Nami and Robin. But, you know, that's...
Whoosh, don't understand that reference, so I guess that makes this an episode, guys.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
You soon will understand that reference, Mike. You soon will.
Well, I'm excited. So, question.
Yes.
Next chapter.
382.
Hawks. No, 383.
383. My bad. Yeah.
No. Hawks, All for One, or Shigaraki Deku?
It's definitely got to follow up on Gigantomachia, so I definitely am leaning towards...
No, but they can do what they did last time. You can see All for One.
It will be more about the Gigantomachia.
Don't listen to Isaac because he's gonna be like, "Oh, I looked at the leaks 3 days ago." So like, I don't.
No, I don't. I haven't.
Don't want to hear his opinion.
Do you think All for One kills Gigantomachia?
Ooh, I mean, 2 birds, 1 stone. I guess maybe it'll be like the end of Thor Ragnarok, where Hela and Surtur are just fighting for eternity. That'd be wild.
That would be wild. Or maybe All for One becomes so young that Gigantomachia can no longer distinguish that he's All for One.
That's what I was just about to say. It's like, what if he can't stop him because now he no longer sounds like Master, right?
Yes,
because his voice is now changed in some form or fashion.
What you're saying is that Gigantomachia is going to eat All for One because he become a fetus. this
And
point.
then All For One is gonna wake up and be like, it's all coming to plan. Then he's gonna sit.
Of
he's
course.
gonna have visions, and he's gonna start the rumbling. And, that's what's gonna happen.
Rumbling.
Rumbling.
Guys, if you enjoyed this video, give us a like, subscribe, and let us know if there's any other shows or manga that you want us to cover, specifically One Piece, just in case. There's a lot to talk about with One Piece, so
Yes.
you will get videos until the end of time.
You can make an entire channel dedicated to that show at this point, franchise at this point.
Stop it. Stop it.
If you guys,
I'm not saying that we should dedicate a channel to that. I'm just pointing out how much there is to it.
That's a lot.
If Isaac could do anything, he would do this to everybody that has not seen One Piece. That's what he would do.
I love how you were.
I love how he's not saying anything at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
we will never know what she showed him, but whatever it was, he's been a changed man ever since. So much so, the only person he's ever professed his love to after this moment was Izuku Midoriya. Just saying. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, check out the chatter after. We're talking movies. We're talking animated shows. Brandon just finished up an interview for The Ghost and Molly McGee, right? For the creators of that show. So if you want to check that out, do that. Here, we still got all the anime that you want. We just did Attack on Titan. Tomo-chan is a girl. And of course, the manga for My Hero won't stop. We get another chapter. As long as Horikoshi's writing, we're going to keep talking about it because MHA is a blast. Until next time, though, go beyond. Plus Ultra.
Plus Ultra.
My ass cheek on fire.
Peace.